My mom uninvited me from Easter because my sister's Harvard Law fiancé would be there, and my job would be awkward. She said I dropped out, worked at some tech startup nobody knew, and might embarrass the family. What she didn't know was that the Wall Street Journal had just put me on the cover that morning. My company was worth $580 million, and it was destroying the very law firm her future son-in-law worked for. By dessert, their brunch was ruined. By sunset, my family knew exactly who they'd been underestimating. March 18th, 2025. The text came in while I was reviewing acquisition documents for our Series C funding round. My mother said we needed to discuss Easter plans. I knew that tone immediately, the careful wording that always came before disappointment. She explained that my sister Ashley was bringing her fiancé, Christopher, a newly minted junior partner at a prestigious Harvard law firm, to Easter brunch. They were hosting at the country club. His family was important, they wanted to make a good impression. Then came the real message. My mother suggested it might be better if I skipped Easter. I had dropped out of law school, after all. I worked for a tech startup nobody had heard of. Christopher and his parents would be discussing cases, partnerships, legal strategy. They didn't want things to feel awkward. I stared at my phone, then at my office. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking San Francisco Bay, my name etched into the glass as co-founder and CEO, a copy of Forbes on my desk featuring my company. I told her I understood and wished her a nice brunch. She offered Olive Garden in May, just us girls. I hadn't eaten there in 4 years, but that was still who they thought I was. 6 years earlier, I had graduated from Princeton with a 3.9 GPA, double majoring in computer science and political science. I was accepted to Yale, Harvard, and Stanford Law. Everyone expected Harvard. It was the family tradition. I chose Stanford instead. During my first year, I spent 6 hours navigating outdated legal research databases for a simple mock trial. When I complained to my computer science PhD roommate, he told me the software was garbage and could be rebuilt in a weekend. That night, I realized legal research was a multi-billion-dollar industry propped up by intentionally bad technology. 3 weeks before finals, I dropped out. My father didn't speak to me for 6 months. My mother cried. My sister called me the family embarrassment. I moved into a tiny San Francisco apartment, maxed out credit cards, and built the first version of Lex AI, an artificial intelligence platform that could do legal research in minutes instead of hours at a fraction of the cost. The first year was brutal. Law firms refused meetings, investors laughed, my family stopped asking about my life. At Thanksgiving, Ashley was thriving at Harvard Law. When my mother asked if I was still working on my little project, I mentioned signing our first client. She said, "How nice," in a way that clearly meant it wasn't. My father suggested I go back to school. Ashley smirked and told me some people planned ahead. I was making $30,000 a year and sleeping on an air mattress, but we had clients and momentum. Year 2, we raised $2.3 million in seed funding. By Christmas, Ashley announced her engagement to Christopher Whitman, heir to a 4-generation legal dynasty. When he asked what I did, Ashley called my company Cute Legal Tech. Christopher smiled politely and told me the legal industry didn't change. When I told him our revenue, he dismissed it as small potatoes. Ashley later told me to stop competing and accept that I had failed. Year 3 changed everything. We raised $28 million, signed major law firms, and hit $15 million in revenue. Year 4, we raised $95 million, expanded globally, and reached $67 million in revenue. The Wall Street Journal scheduled a feature, then upgraded it to a cover story. The issue was set to publish Easter Sunday. On March 18th, the same day my mother uninvited me, my phone rang. Ashley told me Christopher's firm was panicking over a legal tech company destroying their research departments. When I confirmed it was mine, there was silence. She accused me of putting attorneys out of work. I told her the industry was changing and adaptation was optional. Easter morning, I drank mimosas on my terrace overlooking the Golden Gate Bridge while my family imploded at brunch. Voicemails poured in. Everyone had the paper. Everyone was furious. I texted one message, "Happy Easter, enjoy brunch." Then I muted the conversation. That afternoon, my parents and Ashley showed up at my door, still dressed for the country club. They stared at my apartment like it was evidence of a crime. My father asked why I hadn't told them. I told him they never asked. In 4 years, not one of them had shown real interest in my work. They had decided I was the failure because it was easier than being curious. Ashley accused me of humiliating her and ruining her engagement. I reminded her she had uninvited me from Easter and excluded me from her engagement party because I didn't meet her fiancé's caliber. The silence that followed said everything. 2 weeks later, Christopher's father came to my office and accused me of dismantling his family's legacy. I told him I was dismantling inefficiency. He asked me to slow down for the industry's sake. I refused. He warned his son would leave my sister. I told him that would be her good fortune. The breakup came. Then the Series C closed. $240 million at a $2.3 billion valuation. Harvard Law invited me to speak at commencement. My parents sent a card saying they were proud. Ashley sent nothing. At my housewarming party in Atherton, my co-founder toasted me as the woman who dropped out of law school to kill law school. Someone asked if my family was coming. I raised my glass and said this was my family, the people who believed before the headlines. Later that night, I realized I had no regrets. You can't regret outgrowing people who were never willing to grow with you.